All right, here we are dumping our material into this system that's going to be hamster bedding. There's some tubes in there that are left over from the hamster, some food. We have some paper bedding, and we have some aspen shavings. I'm adding some water here to kind of get it wet. And of course, we need some grit. I'm sorry about the blurriness at times, but it does try to focus on my hands there. But this grit is just crushed up a crab and eggshell. Adding some water. I accidentally dumped in the little thing right here that has the BTI mix. This water does have BTI, which is to help prevent fruit flies and fungus gnats. And then we're just trying to mix it up here and try to get everything a little bit wet before we let it sit. Now, as you can see, there's some water sitting in the bottom, but it is going to soak up into this material, which is very absorbent. So it's very important to make sure we have enough water in here, and hopefully this is the right amount that we're going to need. But just we're going to add always a little bit more. So it'll soak in over this time, and now we're going to let it sit for about 7 days. All right, 7 days later, and we are back, and we are adding in our African Nightcrawlers. Now, these are very large worms. They do like this material I noticed from the past, and we're going to see how long it takes them to go through this. Now, I want to say I already have completed this as I'm doing this voiceover, and they didn't quite get through it all, but, you know, it really seems like they're doing a great job here at the beginning as they start to dig in pretty quickly, and they're going to start to move around in the system. You can already see them moving down lower and up high in the system here. And they are going to continue to move around and eat this material. Now, I want to say I've noticed at the top of this, as soon as we started this time lapse, the aspen shavings seem to outnumber a lot of the paper bedding. And unfortunately, due to the cold weather, I do have a heat mat underneath this, but it did keep it warm enough where they slowly start to spread out. You can really see the material starting to move as they move through this bedding material and start just consuming it rapidly. Remember, this is all uneaten bedding. You can see up here on the top, they really started to move forward with this bedding material. And we added some water right here, and we're just going to keep going. Now you can start to see on the side here, we're getting some fruit flies. And this is the reason why I kind of stopped this early, is I started getting some fruit flies and fungus gnats in my basement. The BTI mix was not enough in here, and I was not wetting it with BTI mix once this got going. So when I added water here, this is just from a sprayer on the top. But as you can see, the paper material is disappearing pretty rapidly, but we still have these shavings, and they are left behind. I think I might want to try this again, but with less shavings. I think this material had quite a few shavings in here, but you can just see how rapidly these worms move around in this system and how much they shake up the shavings to push them to the top here. So they're going down underneath, they're moving through all that bedding material, and they're pushing all the shavings to the surface, so you really can't see them either. As you can see on the left, though, there's a lot of bugs on this left side right here. We've got our fungus gnats kind of going in and out of the system as they move around, and now the worms are also starting to look for food as it starts getting a little bit dry in there. The water gets them to settle back down, and again, we still got a ton of fungus gnats going in and out of the system as I'm not adding more BTI like I probably should have been. And they are still searching for food. That's why you start seeing this really move around rapidly. The food's not moist enough on the top, it's drying out too quickly, and that's why we ended up cutting this short. All right, so I haven't done this in the past, but I'm actually going to stop and take a look at this system after so many days, because it's been quite a few days. It's been 23 days, and it's really hard to tell what's going on in here. You can just see I touched that, and there's tons of movement. Lots of worms in here, big worms. Look at this. The top is pretty much the only thing that's left. But I think I'm going to have to end this experiment. When I put everything in, there was only... And it's drying out on the bottom here. Even though I've added water, it just seems like there's not a lot of space for these worms. I'm really worried about their condition. They're going right to where the water is. Look at this. Look how many worms in here. Look how big fat they look. It's because I had to heat this up because it's kind of cold over here. But in the process, it's just drying this out too much. So they're going through this very quickly. It's only been 23 days, as I said. But the other problem with this is that it's just... I can't seem to keep it at the right temperature. I've been monitoring it, but look how quickly they tore through this material. I'm going to go ahead and move this off to the side, probably get another system going in here. But you can see right here, this is just matted down from the water and the evaporation that's going on in there. So, and with that, I also have a lot of fruit flies in here, and I need to take care of them. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and end this at 23 days. They were going through this pretty quickly. I think it would have been better had it been a little bit warmer. I do, as I said, have this heating mat because the ground here is around 40 degrees. it's really cold, so I needed this heating mat and was heating it up, and then we had a couple 70-degree days where things took off and then it would drop back down and then take back off again and then drop back down. But you can just see right here, lots of worms in this system. Actually, it probably wasn't focusing since I have autofocus off. But yeah, this did really well. We'll try this again maybe in the future. Maybe in a few months we'll try this one more time with the hamster bedding, just as this is. But they were moving through it pretty quickly. It's just that this is not going to work with this type of moisture, dryness and everything like that. And then I need to take care of these fungus gnats, I think that are in here. All right, before we close this out, I just wanted to bring this under the bright lights here. Hold on, another. Okay, well, there's definitely a lot of mites in here, and I can see them crawling around the sides. I don't know if you can see them. Not as many over here, maybe up here on this section. Maybe, here we go, we can kind of tilt this sideways, but right over here, there's a ton of mites on this system. Fruit flies galore, and believe it or not, the fruit flies were really underneath the system. Actually, hold on a second here. While I'm looking at this, you know what I just found? A cocoon. It looks like right there at the tip. I'm pretty sure that's a cocoon. Now, I'm seeing some fruit flies or fungus gnats that are coming out of here. I'm not too worried about them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to douse this with some BTI mix. That's going to hopefully get rid of any of the babies that are in here. I also then have my lights up and some netting around, or not netting, but the sticky stuff around here to try to get rid of them. As you can see, though, they did move through a lot of this material very quickly, and I think if the temperatures were a little better, I think they would have just gone right through this. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to save this for now. Actually, there's quite a few cocoons in here, I think. I saw another one. There's one right there. I think that's a cocoon. It's already hatched, it looks like, but it looks like that's a cocoon over there. I thought I saw another one, too. Here's one right here, it looks like. These look like lemon seeds. So they're laying lots of cocoons in here, which I think is a good sign. Some of this is fine moisture-wise. Other parts are not. So it's sort of a strange hodgepodge, but they really did tear through this material that was in here. I mean, this was all, there was no composted material in here. Paper seemed to last a little longer. And then we had things like this on the top where it was sort of like burned almost, it looks like. It's kind of weird. But yet it couldn't absorb moisture. So we're gonna see if we can add some moisture to this from our BTI mix, get this going again, and then I think in the next couple days or day or two, we're gonna go ahead and add this. I mean, you can just see these worms in here. My gosh, look at these guys. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this fully functioning a little bit by adding some water from our mix, which I have been adding, but it's been drying out too quickly because of the heat. Kill another fruit fly there. And by the way, I've been saying fruit flies, but I think they're actually fungus gnats in here. They look a little smaller than fruit flies. But the idea is to get this working again, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and add this to the other bin, and that'll be that for this system. I don't know if I'm going to try this again. I'm worried about them. I mean, there's more fruit flies than I realized on this, and they were underneath the bin. So these bins, if you see right here, they have this lower section and then a raised section, and they were actually underneath this, all through this raised section here, which is really strange. I've never seen that before on my systems. So they weren't even like in the food, but that's where they were. And then I think they were coming up here to lay their, their larvae and everything. So with that, let me grab the some BTI mix, add some water to this, mix it up. This will hopefully get rid of any. I'm adding quite a bit of water because it's dry. And I'm not going to put this back on a heating mat. This is going to just have to exist outside of one. But I'm hoping that this will help get rid of some of these fungus gnats and things like that. And also just sort of help these worms out. I think they're very dry right now. And then we'll add this to our other system here. And we'll just deal with the fact that there's fruit flies or fungus gnats in here as we go. As I said, I do have my lights set up and some strips that are a little bit tacky. I wonder what that's from. It must have been from the other system. But just kind of get this mixed up a little bit. Let them continue to work on it. But I think that I don't know if I'll be trying this again, because this did not work out nearly as well as I thought, and it just added a lot of fungus gnats to my basement. Luckily, I can deal with them. Hopefully, they don't spread to any other systems. But overall, this did work. This worked pretty well. But just doing the lighting on this was a little bit hard and everything, I think, for the system itself. So no cover on this. We're going to go ahead and let this just dry out as it was. And that's it for this system. So thank you for watching. Again, this was a time lapse of this. They were really chewing at this system, but I think that we're gonna have to try some other stuff with some African night crawlers maybe later. So thank you for watching.